If you don't have nostalgia for the series, I'm not sure if you would get much out of it. You would have to have a high tolerance for weak 80s comedies. Now, I would almost describe it as a fetish. I like bad 80s comedies a lot more than the average person does. Something about them interests me, I think, almost because they're so bad, they become interesting. So, if you've never seen a Police Academy movie before, I don't know if you would get anything out of it. I think 6 would be interesting if you watch it with the Batman connection in mind, but maybe that's just me being really loopy with a unique point of view that absolutely no one else agrees on. And the first movie's got some reputation. It's liked to some degree. The rest are just dismissed as not any good. I quite like the series. They are not good movies. I don't watch them too often. It's been a decade since the last time I watched these, and if I was to re-watch them anytime soon, I would skip 2, 3 and 4, I think, and 7. 1, 5 and 6 are the movies I would recommend. I would recommend those ones, and the others, Police Academy, in order of worst to best in my opinion, and my opinion of course matters because you're watching this video. 7 is the worst. I think that's self-evident. It is garbage. Pretty much unwatchable. Then 2, it's not terrible, it's watchable, but it's very crude and very bitty, very sketchy, not much of a plot. It really does take about 1 hour before the plot actually turns up. If it was well made, with more climax, more punchline given to the end of scenes, and the thing was just, a notch funnier, a bit more competent, I would like this a lot more. But as it is, it's pretty crude and not very funny, so I wouldn't really get too excited about it. Then number 3, which is basically the same as number 2, but slightly better, with a slightly better action climax, and it's slightly more amusing. But it's got a really quick pace actually. Number 3 moves at a nice clip. Then number 4, it's a bit slicker than the previous movies. It's better directed, I think, so I would say it's okay, pretty much, almost, more or less. Then number 5, which I think is actually a pretty okay movie, has a proper plot for the most part, and has bigger jokes, broader jokes, and more jokes, and less dud jokes than the previous movies 2, 3 and 4. Then the first movie, which has got some kind of a reputation, some people like it. It's not considered to be a classic, but it's well regarded in certain circles, I think. It's okay, I just don't think it's anything remarkable. It's a solid movie with a few good laughs in it. Certainly in the past, especially the podium joke. Certainly, last time I watched it 10 years ago, I was tears of laughter. It was really funny. Didn't work so well on this viewing, but good, solid, good scene. Anyway. And then the best of them, in my opinion, is number 6, which has a different tone to the others. It's much more comic book, a bit more sophisticated, and again, broader jokes and more jokes than in number 5. And I think it's worth investigating if you're into Batman or Dick Tracy, that very specific late 80s, early 90s comic book era. I feel this movie fits in that world. So to recap, worst to best: 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 6. I think as a series it's worth a damn. I enjoy them, but if you don't have the nostalgia for them, I do struggle to imagine you getting much out of them. But I certainly, as a kid, we're talking like 8 years old and stuff, loved these movies. You had the James Bond series, you had the Carry On series, you had the Police Academy series, and you would watch these things repetitively all the time, constantly. And who knows what other series I used to watch. They don't come to mind at this moment, but as a child, this was a significant series. I used to watch this all the time, and I think if you have any nostalgia for these, they're really worth watching again. I really do think they are. Just don't expect them to be all that great.